Durban. Colonel Davis, General Hartmann, has also said that he directed his office not to use evidence obtained from or in connection with enhanced coercive interrogation techniques, specifically waterboarding. What is the current status of this issue?
Ma'am, with regard to that, as a general matter, a prosecutor is not authorized and should not discuss matters of deliberation and how he's going to proceed with a trial in public. However, since Colonel Davis brought this matter to the public, the issue is very clear. As a matter of policy and as a matter of law, torture is prohibited under U.S. law. Statements obtained by torture are prohibited from being used in these commission proceedings. As to other enhanced techniques and coercive techniques that might be used in connection with gathering evidence, that is the purpose for which the Military Commissions Act was created. That's why we have a judge in the courtroom. That's why the accused has the right to a defense counsel. That's why there are prosecutors, ma'am, and discovery. Those people will assess the facts and apply them to the law as it exists in the United States and as it applies to the commissions. And that's the rule of law, not for me to make a decision about that in abstraction. Trials, commission proceedings are 90 to 95% facts, and you apply the law to those facts. So to answer that in abstract is number one, inappropriate, and anything dealing with the discretion of a prosecutor is inappropriate to be dealt with in public.
So I understand from the answer to your question that evidence obtained from waterboarding is not being used to prepare cases.
No, ma'am, I didn't say that.
Well, would you repeat what you did say?
Yes, ma'am, I will say that. The evidence that we are gathering is the evidence that we are gathering. Whatever the methods that have been used to gather that evidence will be evaluated in connection with the law and in the trials. It can't be defined in an abstract way like that, ma'am.
All right, so I understand it's a non-answer to my question. Is evidence from other enhanced coercive interrogation techniques being used?
Ma'am, I can't answer that either because these are ongoing trials and it's completely inappropriate for anyone associated with the preparation of cases or any kind of prosecution to prejudge those or to discuss those in the public. It's very critical that those involved in the prosecution effort have the ability to discuss those behind closed doors so that they can give unvarnished, unbiased, bark off the tree opinions about the right answer.
One last question on that subject. Do you agree that evidence obtained from waterboarding is unreliable and should not be used?
Ma'am, again, the issues that deal with that are fundamentally based on reliability and probativeness of evidence. And the question that will be before the judge when that comes up is whether the evidence is reliable and probative and whether it's in the best interest of justice to introduce the evidence. That is the rule of law, ma'am. That is the rule of evidence. That is the rule of law and the rule of evidence that is supported by the Military Commission Act that the legislature passed.
So in other words, if you believe you can prove something from evidence derived from waterboarding, it will be used?
If the evidence is reliable and probative and the judge concludes that it is in the best interest of justice to introduce that evidence, ma'am, those are the rules we will follow.
And
that's the rules we must follow.
How is that presented to the judge?
How is
that issue presented to the judge in
well,
the course of a trial?
I'm sorry, the prosecution will raise the issue because the prosecution will be presenting the evidence, or the defense will file a motion to exclude the evidence, and then the parties will deal with that motion and debate it.
I see. Did you, the convening authority, or anyone discuss the need to move quickly on cases because of upcoming elections?
No, ma'am.
That was never discussed?
No, absolutely not, ma'am.
Would you agree that military commission trials should be open, if possible?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. I fully support, and so does everyone in the commission process, fully support the value of having open trials and open presentations. We have moved mountains to try to get the press there, the non-governmental organizations there, and we endeavor to do that. However, there will be circumstances in which classified evidence must be used to move forward on the cases, and in those limited sets of circumstances, it will be necessary to close the trial to allow the evidence to come in. Let me make one clarification, which often gets in the newspaper, which is inaccurate, and that refers to the word secret trials. There will be no secret trials. There is no mechanism for a secret trial. Every piece of evidence, every form of evidence, every type of evidence that will go before the jury will be seen by the accused and his counsel, subject to cross-examination, subject to review. There will be no evidence that is used on a finding of guilt or innocence or a sentence that the accused does not have the right to see, object to, and challenge.
Thank you. I think that's helpful. In April in 2004, DOD issued a press release saying that it was taking the general counsel out of the chain of command over the chief prosecutor to help ensure independence of the military commissions process. That's an important gesture because it took any political aspect out of the chain of command. This was done under Military Commission Instruction Number 6. Then on October 3rd, 2007, this position was reversed and new orders were issued, putting the chief prosecutor under the legal advisor to the appointing authority, the deputy general counsel and the general counsel. So in just a few months, you took out any opportunity for there to be civilian political influence, and then 3 months later, you put that back. Why was this change made?
Ma'am, the fundamental principle of law in this country with regard to the military is civilian control over the military. So that's no surprise, and it is fundamental. With regard to the change that you referred to as occurring on October 3rd or October 4th, the chief prosecutor always reported to the legal advisor. That's no change. The change was with regard to where I reported. I had no reporting official at that time, and one of the recommendations of the Tate investigative group was that that be clarified. And so the formal designation of my supervisor became one of the deputy general counsel within the office of the general counsel. That didn't change anything in reality, ma'am, and this is important. The person that was the deputy general counsel before that was the person who was also the deputy general counsel after that. I talked to that person regularly every day. So did Colonel Davis. It was a very common form of association, a very common source of getting information and an understanding of the law and counsel. There was no change, ma'am, before October the 3rd or after October the 3rd, and there has been no political influence on this effort. If there has been an effort to increase the speed of the trials, the effort to improve the performance, an effort to improve the execution in the trials process, it has been my effort, and no one has directed me in that regard.
Thank you very much. My time is up. Senator Kyle?
Thank you.